Hey, Careblazer, welcome back to this month's series on what I wish I knew sooner about dementia. And similar to last week's question about how is dementia diagnosed, sounds like a simple question, has a bit of a complicated answer. Today, we are answering the question on what are the different stages of dementia? What do I need to know about the different stages of dementia? Again, simple question, complicated answer. So let's walk through what I wish more Careblazers knew about the stages of dementia, what they mean, how they're measured, and what they don't always tell you. Now, you may have heard things like, my loved one is in stage 3 or my loved one is in stage 6. But here's the twist. There's more than one staging symptom. So some people use the 3-stage model, which is my favorite, which is pretty much mild, moderate, or severe. Sometimes people will say early, middle, or late stages. That's very simple 3-stage model. Other people might use a staging symptom known as the GDS scale, which is the Global Deterioration Scale, which describes how thinking changes across 7 stages. And then there's another scale that's often used, and that's called the FAST scale, which is the Functional Assessment Staging Tool. And that tracks how daily functioning declines over time. It's kind of like saying it's 70 degrees outside, but you don't know if the person is referring to Fahrenheit or Celsius. Those are two very different things. That's what it is when somebody says my loved one's at level 3. Those can mean two very different things depending on whether you're using this 3-stage model or the GDS scale. So the number really only makes sense when you know the system behind it. So if somebody says, oh, she's at stage 5, the truth is we have no idea what that means until we know what system they're using for that number. Here's another thing that's really important about the stages to understand is that they're not rigid or exact. The stages are really based on symptoms and behaviors that we're observing in our loved ones. And those symptoms, as you know, they can shift from day to day. Your loved one might be calm and communicative one day, and another day they might seem totally disoriented. It's not unusual. Dementia often doesn't move in a straight line. Sometimes it's all around the place. It's hard to sometimes figure out which stage somebody is in. And also, not every person with the same dementia spends the same amount of time in each stage. Some people move through the stages very quickly, and some people move through the stages very slowly. And you don't spend the same amount of time in every stage. It really depends on other conditions that that person might have. So two people, same diagnosis, same age, one can progress much quicker than the other. So when sometimes family members want to know the stage because they want to know, well, how much time does my loved one have? We don't know based on their stage. We can make a guess, but that's all it is. It's a guess. So let's talk a little bit about how maybe these stages look. And we'll use the 3-stage model because that's the simplest, my favorite, and kind of easiest to picture. In the earlier stages, also known as the mild stages of dementia, for the most part, the person seems pretty independent, doing okay to most observers. That's what makes it really tough to even identify people in this stage. And the majority of people don't even get the diagnosis till they're more in the middle stages. So in this stage, the person maybe seems a little less interested in the hobbies and activities that they've always enjoyed. Maybe they seem to withdraw a little more. It's easy to just think that they're changing their interest or they're a little bit more tired or maybe they're under some stress. To a lot of people, it could be they seem totally fine to me. There's nothing really obvious wrong. This stage is really hard for you, the main Careblazer, because to the outside observer, they really do seem fine. But you, being the person with them often 24/7, you really notice a lot of the changes. And the stage can require a lot of supervision because many people keep their physical abilities in this stage. They're able to get to that car and drive away. They're able to get on the computer and manage their finances and wire that money to the scam, right? And so it creates a lot of problems and a lot of stress for the main caregiver, while other people on the outside are thinking, what's the big deal? They seem totally fine. Maybe they think you're exaggerating or being dramatic, and that's particularly frustrating. In this type of stage, tools like GPS trackers, pill organizers, simplifying routines, those can really help maintain safety, but the emotional load is really still there and often invisible to most other people. Once we get into more of the moderate stage of dementia, signs become more obvious to everybody. This is where we start to notice a lot of behaviors, maybe wandering, paranoia, believing things that aren't true, resisting a lot of help when they need the help. They might start to need more assistance with physical tasks, like maybe dressing or bathing, managing medications, cooking, things like that. This is probably the most exhausting stage. You're trying to manage routines, trying to stay connected with them, trying to maintain their dignity, often while trying to maintain your own life, maybe even caring for young children, maybe other friendships, other relationships. It just feels so impossible. And this is the stage where support is so critical, both emotional support for you, but also real support, hands-on support sometimes for your loved one, and maybe even for you. If your loved one is particularly against having somebody in the house to help with hands-on care, maybe the hands-on care comes in the form of somebody helping you clean your house or cook meals or run errands or do some of the handiwork around the house. In terms of tools that can be helpful here, we're looking at things that maybe can make the home safer. Things like door alarms if your loved one is wandering, or maybe labels around the house that can make a difference to help your loved one maintain some level of independence in a safe way. Maybe even considering some respite care, like an adult day program, or people coming into the home to relieve you of some caregiving duties. And in the final stage, the more late stage or severe stage of dementia, a lot of times communication becomes really limited, and the person might not be able to understand much of what you're saying or be able to speak much. They really start to show problems with physical abilities. Maybe they're having trouble swallowing, walking, using the toilet. In the very late stages of the disease, they might have trouble holding even their head up. Basically, the brain and the body are really showing significant decline. A lot of times in this stage, it's really about patients, making sure they're as comfortable as possible, keeping them safe, and just being present for them. If you've ever wondered, what stage are we in? It's really not always clear. They might show signs from multiple stages. The number might not match what you see. Things might move quicker than you expect or slower than you expect. It's really different for everybody. And it's because we're dealing with people often who have more than just dementia. They have other conditions which are playing a role. That being said, every stage kind of comes with its own challenges. The disease is changing, which means we're constantly having to change and adapt how we respond. Certainly, it comes with its own grief as the person progresses through changes. It's just hard for everybody. Again, I wish I could hop on here and make things sound super simple and clear. And I'm sure I could do that, but it wouldn't be accurate. It wouldn't be factual. And so I just want to paint the picture about if you're confused about what stage your loved one is in, then this is probably part of the reason why it feels that way. However, in terms of the GDS and the fast staging tools, you can easily Google them and find access and be able to look at them to try to determine yourself. I'll even link them below this video so you can click on them and take a look. But regardless of what stage your loved one is in, each stage comes with challenges. It's important you find your support. If you would like more information on dementia, care tips, resources, tools, connecting with others, I have a free weekly Dementia Dose newsletter you can sign up for. The link is below as well, or you can go to our website, careblazers.com, look for the Dementia Dose link and sign up, and I will send you an email every week on Thursday with my best tools and resources that have helped thousands of other Careblazers. I'm sending you so much love. I'll be back next week with another video in this series this month on what I wish I knew sooner about dementia. Also, Nico gets a belly rub for every person who subscribes from this video. So if you haven't already, click the red subscribe button. It's totally free, and Nico says thank you very much.